Okay, folks, ready to get started? We have plenty of chairs. We just weren't sure how many chairs we needed, and there were 4 women and 1 man putting all these up, and we got tired. So, welcome, Corky. Welcome, Mary, and we'll get started on that note. First tonight at 6 o'clock, we are going to address the Shasta County Board of Supervisors District 3. This is the one district that did not get cleared during the primary. As you remember, in the primary, if you get more than 50% of the vote, then you get the job. I got to figure out exactly where this is going to be, right here. So on behalf of the League of Women Voters of the Reading area, I would like to welcome you to the Candidates Forum tonight, and thank you for joining us. My name is Susan Morris Wilson, and I will be your moderator tonight. One of the things that we've started doing is talking a little bit about the responsibilities of the job, because sometimes people ask questions that have absolutely nothing to do with your job. So I Googled it, and this is what your job is, according to the County Board of Supervisors, CSAC. Thank you. Setting priorities. The Board of Supervisors sets priorities for the county, approving budgets, supervising county officials, controlling county property, spending money, I like that one, spending money, appointing county officials, providing compensation, creating officers, boards, and commissions, awarding contracts, conducting public hearings, and auditing county accounts. The Board of Supervisors has administrative, legislative, and quasi-judicial duties and responsibilities. Tonight, we have 2 people running for this position. So I'm going to introduce Mary Rickert first and Corky Forrest Harmon second. And they're going to speak in that order, and we'll talk a little bit more about the order in a second. As you know, the election is going to be held on the 5th of November. Some dates to remember: you do have to be registered to vote, and you need to register for a mail-in ballot by 10/20/24. Conditional or same-day registration can be completed all the way up from 10/20 to 11/5. Register to vote, you can do that on the internet at registertovote.ca.gov. Ballots will be mailed from the registrar's office about 10/7, so you know that you're going to get your ballot somewhere around 10/8, 10/9, presuming that the post office is running effectively. I understand that the post office has said that this might be a difficult thing for them. So that's why I bring it up. Early voting sites are available prior to Election Day on 10/26 because we are a county that has elected to do early voting. You need to confirm the sites and the dates and times because they weren't perfectly clear to me when I checked. Drop boxes, however, open on 10/8. You can track your ballot using ballot tracks, TRAX. Vote by mail ballots must be postmarked on or before 11/5. And I want to talk just for a moment about the certification of elections. You need to remember that just because a number gets posted on the site on that evening, that is not the final number. The number is not final until it's certified by the county and then certified by the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State guarantees certification of whatever the count is by 12/13. So that's quite far out, you know, and I think it's really important that you understand that particular thing. I want to remind you that the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. The League encourages informed and active citizen participation in government and influences public policy through education and advocacy. So you see us doing forums occasionally and stuff like that. The League does not endorse candidates for partisan office. Tonight we will be recording our proceedings as follows. Mike has given me all these instructions, but we are doing a video. And we are live streaming at Mr. Mike Media 96001 on YouTube. And we're connecting it to Facebook. So we do have that, and then we'll have a video. We're going to clean up the video so that it's useful. to us. And so we'll have the video ready Mike and I differ on the time we're going to have it ready, but soon is what we have agreed on. So tonight, let me describe the procedure that we're going to use. As you came in, you saw 3x5 cards. The league does not write the questions. We get the questions from the audience. Ladies who are picking up cards, would you wave your card hands like this? Yes. And then we work on the cards and make them into English for me to read, and in good writing, so for me to read. And we ask both candidates the same questions. We'll do them in rotating order here. We ask that your questions be general. Don't address them to one candidate. If you address them to one candidate, out goes the question. Okay? So keep in mind that the question has to be appropriate to both of the candidates. I'm also asking the audience not to clap, shout, scream, yell, do any of those things, because it just takes time. And we want to take as much time with the candidates as we possibly can. I've asked the candidates to make an initial presentation of 3 minutes about their background, areas of concern, reason for running for office, all those kinds of things. And then we'll have time for about, I think the other night we did 7 questions when we had 2 people, 7 or 8 questions. So we'll do 7 or 8 questions. They have 2 minutes to answer the question. The faster you answer the question, if there's not a lot to say, don't say a lot. Don't try and fill in your 2 minutes, because then we can get more questions on the table, okay? And then we'll have a closing statement of 2 minutes. So, any questions? Candidates? You're the 2 that we're worried about. I called them and briefed them ahead of time, though, just in case. All right, I think that we're ready to start. And you get to go first, Mary, because Mary drew number 1, and so her opening statement. Mary.
Great. Thank you, Susan. First of all, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this evening, Shasta Lake City for opening up their facility for us, but I also want to thank the audience for coming. I want to thank you for being engaged in your communities and caring about the local politics that we have going on in Shasta County. We've made national and international news, and we're kind of the focal point of a lot of other counties in California. So I think it's important that we all get engaged, we all get informed, and I want to thank you all for being here. First of all, my husband and I have been married 51 years. Yes, I got married very young. No, just kidding. But we have 3 children and 6 grandchildren, and they're a good part of my motivation to run for supervisor 8 years ago. I've spent my entire adult life very involved in my community. Many years my husband and I lived in Cottonwood, and then for the last 36 years we've lived in MacArthur. I have a list of some of the things I've done over the years. I've served as a 4-H leader, Anderson Union High School Scholarship Committee, Shasta College Ag Advisory Board, Accreditation Committee, Fall River High School Board of Directors. I founded the Bernie Fall River Education Foundation, Fall River Boosters Club. I was a Sober Grad Night chairman for many years, NAMI instructor, National Alliance for Mental Illness, for the Family to Family course. Jim and I have hosted a lot of tours for kids and other people through the Shasta Land Trust. Part of the Intermountain Fall River AAUW, I was the chairman for the Scholarship Committee. I served for 10 years on the Shasta County Mental Health Advisory Board, a member of the Cow Creek Watershed. I was a panelist and helped with the crisis intervention training for law enforcement, sponsored by NAMI in Shasta County from 2001 to 2012. I was chairman of the Children's Committee, a subcommittee of the Shasta County Mental Health Board. I mentored a teenage girl for 4.5 years through +1 mentoring. I was appointed by Supervisor Glenn Haas to the Psychiatric Hospital Facility Community Committee. I think, Susan, we were on that together, weren't we? We were. Yes. A parish council member. I was also chairman of our county farm service agency. I was elected to that position several times. Served on the Mental Health Assessment Redesign Collaborative. A member of the Shasta Regional Community Foundation Board, which is now the Community Foundation Board of the North State. I was appointed by Governor Jerry Brown to the California State Board of Forestry and Fire Protection from 2013 to 2016. I'm running out of time. Okay, so, and with that, my husband and I have a business, an agribusiness. We have about 20,000 acres that we oversee, farm management, and we have the Prather Ranch that we operate. It's a closed herd where we raise cattle for just beef and biomedical products. I want to run, again, I see a lot of things I want to get done in Shasta County. We've kind of been sidetracked with a lot of things, and I want to get back to the focus of mental health, public safety, and substance use.
Thank you. And Corky, could you give us your opening statement?
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, all the accolades that you were talking about earlier. I'm born and raised in Shasta County, born up Mercy Medical Center. I was thinking earlier when I was driving in here, 3 generations ago, my family moved here, and we lived over in Pine Grove when there was just a camp there with the wooden floors and the pop-up tents. Of course, I don't remember that, but I remember my grandpa and my dad telling us about it. They had one community water well, and anyway, I'm just telling you that to let you know that I am a long time, 3rd generation. I'm I've got 4 I'm a little behind you, Mary, on the grandkids. So I've got 3 kids and three grandbabies, which is a motivation. I agree with you, Mary. It's a very big motivation to see them grandbabies, and I would love for my family to stay here. I shared something the other night. One of the things that kind of told me how I felt about what I'm doing right now, which was I went to the fuel my truck up about 6 o'clock in the morning in Palo Cedro, and a friend contractor of mine pulled up next on the other side of the pumps, and he got out and said, "Hey, how we doing?" You know, we said a few things, hadn't seen him in a while, and he said, "I don't know how much longer my wife and I are going to be able to stay here. We're thinking about moving to Idaho." I got up on the little island. There was about it looked like a podium to me with a garbage can there, and I said, "No, you're not. You're going to stay right here." He's a friend of mine, so I could talk to him like this, but I said, "We're going to stay right here, and we're going to push back, and we're going to do everything we can to improve. This is where I'm from. This is where you're from. This is where your family's from." And by the time I got done with about a 5-minute little oration with him and stepped off my podium, he said, do you feel better?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I guess that was I had a little vented up frustration there about hearing people saying they're going to move away. I have one daughter that's in Texas, and I'm working diligently to try to get her to move back here with my oldest granddaughter. And I just feel like there's a lot to do here. I want to give back. I'll be 65 in the spring, and I'm a businessman, and I have 3 successful businesses here. I'm a project manager. I want to see what a good business sense will do for the board. I think a good board is a diversified board. I feel like let's stay here. Let's fix it. Let's do what we can. If you move to Idaho, it's just going to follow you, whatever the problems are. Well, that was kind of quick.
I know, that was the fastest 3 minutes in your life. That's the way it works. So pick up that microphone, Corky, because you get to answer the first question first.
Yes, ma'am.
And the first question is, if you had to pick one goal, one thing that you really want to affect if you step onto the Board of Supervisors, what would that thing be, and how would you do it? 2 minutes.
That's a tough question because it's hard to narrow it down to one thing. My number one priority, I can't even call it my number one priority, but one of my priorities is to bring some continuity back to the board. I get a little frustrated. I'm sure everybody in here gets a little frustrated with all the infighting. I'm not blaming it on anybody in particular. I think everybody's involved. All 5 of them. It seems like they don't get along. They don't talk. They don't. And it needs to be. It needs to be friendly. It needs to be. There's no reason why we can't disagree with something and be very polite about it. To say it, pointedly. We've all experienced it in there at the board. It's no way to do business, and I feel like that's one of the things I'll bring to the board is I've spent my entire life, well, most of my life, doing projects, bringing people together, bringing crews together, working with owners, working with employees, getting projects done, getting things done. I'm a doer. I have 30 years of experience making stuff happen. I've been successful at everything I've taken on. I want to take on the job as county supervisor, and I feel like I'll do a good job for the people. I think it's all about the people. I want to represent the people. There isn't one person on that board that I haven't been to and talked to, including Mary a long time ago, but I went in and talked to Mary. I've talked to all the board members individually. I don't pick a corner. It's not how I operate. I want to go in there and reach across to every one of them and represent the people.
Thank you. Mary, same question?
Right. Well, first of all, this is my 8th year as a supervisor, and the first four-ish years, we had a great relationship, all of our board members. We got along great, we worked together, we compromised, and we didn't always agree, but we compromised and we supported each other, and we got along great. My number one, topic that I think that needs to be addressed, and it's kind of a combination, is we need to really address substance use and mental illness in this county, because that is basically impacting all of our quality of life. We've all been touched by someone with a mental illness or substance use disorder, and that's at the foundation or at the basis of a lot of our crime, domestic violence, all the statistics that are, we're above the state average by far. We have about the highest suicide rate in our county. We have extraordinarily high substance use statistics in our county. We have domestic violence, child abuse elder abuse is a problem. And so much of this, the basis of it is substance use and mental illness. And so if we can address those issues, then we are able to get at the basically what I say ground level of what needs to be done. And so that has always been my kind of focus. I was at a NAMI meeting last week, longtime NAMI member myself. It was bittersweet being there because I've spent so many years working with NAMI families, and I know truly from the bottom of my heart how difficult it is to live with a situation in life where you have a loved one that suffers from a mental illness and the chaos that surrounds your entire family. If we can really focus our energy on that, I think that would be reduce crime.
Great. Hold on to the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Remember, you kind of get two in a row here.
That's true.
So the second question is, how will you serve the more rural and marginalized communities in District 3? Using as one example, Big Bend Oil Station and so on.
I live there. Well, I like to joke that where my husband and I live, the closest stoplight is 30 miles. And I can see Lassen County, Siskiyou County, and Modoc County from my bedroom window. So I understand the rural life. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love being out in nature. I love being out on the ranches. I love being around the cows. I understand the rural lifestyle. I understand the frustrations that farmers and ranchers experience with weather, commodity prices, all of that. So I feel I really can relate to those that live in the far reaches of the county and who live that same kind of lifestyle. I've spent a lot of time in Whitmore, Oak Run, Round Mountain, Montgomery Creek. We all know that we've got the Fountain Wind Project. I'm totally in support of those people to fight that project. My time on the Board of Forestry really taught me about wildfires and the risks. And for those of us that remember the Fountain Fire, that's a really, really dangerous high fire risk area. And to put 600-foot tall wind turbines in that area. If there's a lightning storm, you would not be able to bring in fixed-wing aircraft to fight a fire. I care about my people, I care about the rural lifestyle, and I will continue to fight for it. I truly believe that we're continuing on the Fire Safe Council. For those of you that know, I started that here in Shasta County about 4 years ago. We have a lot of fuel reduction projects in process as a result of that, and I think that's going to ultimately save lives. And I'm looking forward to having a lot more projects on the ground in the near future that will ensure the safety of everyone. So the rural lifestyle is, like I say, it's who I am. It's the true fabric of what I am, and so I do think I can relate to those kind of people.
Thanks. Corky, same question.
So I too very much appreciate the rural lifestyle. I live out in Palo Cedro, been there for same house for 34 or 35 years, raised my family there. Palo Cedro's everybody wants to know, where'd you go to high school? Well, I didn't go to high school here. 8th grade year, my family moved to Montana. We bounced around chasing construction projects, but I was always in small towns. And I've spent quite a bit of time doing this campaign in the Intermountain area, Bernie, Fall River, MacArthur. I've been up at Whitmore a lot, and then I live out in Palo Cedro. The hardest people to get to for me is East Redding, because it's all subdivisions. Going out there and meeting all those people, the farmers, the ranchers. I'm a wannabe rancher. I got a little ranch out in Palo Cedro. We need what?
We need to talk.
Yes. I love my son and I team rope, and we did all the junior rodeo stuff, high school rodeo when he was growing up, and I love where we live, and I love the rural part of this county. That's been the number one question: is, are you going to forget about us up here? Are you going to represent us, the whole county or the whole district? Yes, I will represent the whole district. I'll represent the people, and I'll represent you proudly, and I'll do you a good job. I'm pretty competitive, so I have always wanted to be in first place. Used to run quarter mile, scholarship to college doing the quarter mile, and I think that drive in me is what's drove me doing business. It's what'll drive me as a county supervisor. I'll want to do you a good job. I'll want to represent you first class.
Thank you. Hold on to that microphone. Every time you get it, you have to do two things. Okay. Just keep that firmly in mind. So all of you know that we voted to become a charter county in the primary, and now we have Measure P and Q on our ballots. Could you tell us what your opinion of Measure P and Measure Q are?
So I'm all for the charter county because I think it pushes the state back. I don't remember P and Q, to be honest with you. I've read it. I'm familiar with it. I'll stand up and tell you, as a county, I think that it's beneficial for us to make sure that we don't get things like the what's it called, the property rights for oh my gosh, what?
Eminent domain?
Eminent
Are you talking
domain,
about?
thank
Yeah.
you. Sorry, a little bit of deer in the headlights here. Sorry. I'm all about property rights. I think that eminent domain is a big deal. I think that this becoming a charter county pushes the state back. It gives us rights that we might not have right now. Some of it has to do with if somebody was to step away from the board, who makes the decision about who steps in. We don't want the state making that decision. We want to be able to make that decision ourselves. There's a couple ways to do that. This will probably come up in another topic, but I will learn everything there is to know about all these, and I'm a little behind here because I know Mary's been in this job for 2 terms. Please don't please don't be critical of me not knowing all the little details. I'll learn all the little details. I'm very studious, and I'm very much about representing you and the people.
My turn?
Okay, your turn, Mary.
So P and Q. Well, first of all, I voted no on the ability for the Board of Supervisors to appoint, and it also means you can also bring it to a special election for various positions. The reason is, from what I've experienced in the last 3 or 4 years, I understand how boards can become politically lopsided, and I think it's really important. It's imperative that the people have the voice. I don't think it's right for 4 supervisors to pick another supervisor from a district that, say, District 4. I think the people from District 4 should pick that supervisor. So I am absolutely against it. I think this gives too much power to the Board of Supervisors, and I don't feel that that is going to be in the best interest of each individual person in any given district that loses a supervisor and needs to have that opening filled. So that was my very strong stand on that. As far as eminent domain was concerned, I contacted our Public Works Director, and I said, Troy, how many times has the county used eminent domain in the last 25 years? And he looked it up for me. He said 3 times. And it was for 2 bridges and a bike lane. It wasn't taking people's property rights away from them. As I very clearly stated early in the program, my husband and I are involved in property rights. Jim's an accredited appraiser. I'm very familiar with property rights. This measure that they have proposed is not what it truly is being used for currently. It's for, like I say, if you have a road construction and you got to widen a bridge a few feet, then you might have to use eminent domain, and that's what it was used for. It's not taking people's property rights away from them. So that was very much a misrepresentation.
Thank you. Hold on to your microphone.
I remembered.
There are 12 questions to this issue that I'm going to bring up.
Okay.
And that is the decorum and
Yes.
the healthy atmosphere that does not exist in
That's true.
the board chambers. Do you have any ideas about how we can fix that?
I do. As I stated earlier, when I was on the board for my first term, we didn't have that problem. We had a handful of people show up, public comment, everything was orderly, we got our business done, there were no problems. I can remember we had one gentleman that was pretty colorful that would show up, and it got to be he would give us a chapter of his life each board meeting, and it got to be kind of fun. But things changed with COVID, and people tried to blame. I was chair that year in 2020. We had a brand new CEO who's since left the county, and people tried to blame the board, tried to blame me. It was not something we decided. I talked to other supervisors up and down the state that I'm friends with. We opened our chambers far sooner than any other county, let me tell you. And when I was chair, Matt Pontus, he was the CEO, and I, at the time, we would sit and brainstorm how could we let people still have their say. We allowed them to call in by telephone. They could email us. We actually even opened the back doors to the board chambers. We put a microphone back there so that people could still come. And so we did everything we could to try and accommodate people, because I always wanted to listen to people. And even if someone got up, and if some of you have seen, there's been a lot of lack of decorum, and I've been chastised, I'll use that word, and called all kinds of names, etc. I don't respond. And I think I've seen in the last few years, other board members do respond and make remarks back to the speaker, and I feel that's reprehensible. You don't have to agree with what the speaker says, but show some respect. And if you show respect as a board of supervisor, that will equate to respect in the audience.
Thank you. Corky, same question.
Well, we did remove all the seating in the auditorium at that time. I would not have closed the board room down. I just wouldn't have done it. I would have pushed back on it. It's not, I think that was the beginning of causing all our problems. Yeah, I truly believe that. Like I said earlier, I'm very much a people person. I went to 14 different schools when I was growing up. I learned early on to learn how to get along, to learn how to fit in, to learn what to do, to not get tied with the wrong kids. When I was in school, it's sort of a little bit the same. When you're an adult, you got to know who to. And everybody's been trying to push me in a corner, get me to be part of this little group or that little group. I've done a good job of being a grassroots about the people I've met with. Like I said earlier, I've met with all the incoming candidates or supervisors to be. I've spent my whole life getting along with people and bringing people together for the right jobs, and having people that are not fitting in, not allowing them in to the management positions. I think that it's very much a skill that needs to be part of a good board member. I feel like the people have been misrepresented in a lot of ways. I think that we're allowing too much of, in that case, too much of Sacramento to tell us how to run our business up here, and I think that it needs to stop.
Thank you. Hold on to the microphone.
Hang on to the microphone.
Next question. The board appointed an election commission. I would like your thoughts about having an election commission for the board and what you expect from them.
So I don't think anybody in this room can honestly say that there's not concerns about a secure election, that we haven't had problems, that we don't have problems. Nobody can say that, not honestly. Why would you not want voter ID, for instance? Why? We have to have voter ID for everything else. It's something that I think it needs to be very transparent. It needs to be opened up, and we need to dig into it. I see a lot of people shaking their heads. I don't know why you would be against voter ID. Why would you be against voter ID? Let's just make that the number one deal. That should tell you something right there. If we don't have voter ID, we have voter ID for everything else. For a driver's license, for anything we do, you got to have voter ID. Here, here. Yes, and I think that if you're not all about doing whatever that commission can do, and it's been tarred and feathered, and it's and I know it's a touchy subject. I don't think it's that touchy. I think that we need to be very optimistic about what they can dig up and find. I have a personal friend of mine that used to work for me in my office that moved to Bend, Oregon. She got 4 mail-in ballots at the last elections, and it's like there's story after story after story like that, and there's no reason why we can't clean that up. Let's clean it up, and let's get confidence back in what we're doing with the elections. Shasta County's not the only one. It's worse in other places, but it's certainly affected here.
Thank you. Mary?
Yes. The Elections Commission is something that I have not been supportive of. I did finally appoint someone just because I wanted to be sure that we had some balance on the commission. The budget for 23-24 was approved at $55,000. I think that to date we've realized expenditures of over $15,000. And that's $26,653 is for extra outside counsel, not inside counsel, but that's extra outside counsel. They, in my mind, and this is what, September 12th, have not brought anything of substance to the board that has proven any irregularities or any voter fraud. I've always said, show me the fraud. I've gotten to know a gentleman by the name of Dr. Justin Grimmer. He is with the Hoover Institute from Stanford. It's a nonpartisan think tank. I've spent a lot of time with him, as did Kathy Darling Allen. We met with him, had several virtual meetings. And he's an expert in this field. And we talked at great length about the Dominion machines. There's been, what, 63 court cases that have been thrown out saying that there is not a problem with them. The other thing is that since this commission has been in existence, they've asked the board to approve things that would break the law 2 times. And even at the last meeting, the county council has said, no, don't do this. So they're being given advice by county council that the recommendations are illegal. And if that's the case, I want people to really think about this. This is going to put our county in jeopardy of liability, and it's going to cost you, the taxpayer, money to pay for these lawsuits. And that's what I have a fiduciary responsibility to every one of you that is sitting in here. And that's what I will continue to do, is to make sure we are risk averse in Shasta County.
Thank you. Mary, hold on to the microphone.
Got it.
This is a follow-up question to the previous question. Sure. And I'd like a 10-word answer. I think you can do this in 10 words.
Okay.
What is your position on hand counting ballots in Shasta County?
I have done a great deal of research on hand cutting. All you have to do is go to the internet and look at studies that are valid studies, legitimate studies. Hand counting is more expensive, more time consuming, and has a higher error rate. And it's been proven in study after study after study. I've talked to Dr. Grimmer about that, and unequivocally, that is the case. We also do some hand counting. We've always done some hand counting. We've always done it. And if there's a very close or contentious race, Kathy Darling Allen, she would count the entire contest. So we do hand counting anyway, but it is proven over and over again, multiple studies, that it's more expensive, more time consuming, and less accurate.
Thank you. Corky, same question.
I don't have a problem with hand counting. If we need to hand count to make sure that it's accurate, then let's hand count. Is that 10 words?
Thank you. Yep, that's good. The next question, and hold on to that microphone. What do you think can be done to help our unhoused population? I mean, you may not have many in your district, but you vote as a supervisor for the entire county. So think about the unhoused population. What are your thoughts? What can we do to help that population?
That's a tough one, because it's when you think about housing, every time the government has got involved with housing for homeless, and trust me, I'm very sympathetic to the people that are living on the streets. But why aren't we drug testing them? If we want to do something where we can get people in housing, then we need to have some requirements for it. I'm all about trying to help out, but if we aren't doing that in a way that's got strings tied to it, so to speak, for those people that we want to help, if we're just handing them a place to stay, handing them vouchers, handing them whatever, and we're not putting them in some kind of a program, making it required for them to go through a program, for instance, that keeps them accountable to what we're doing to try to help them, then I think we're kidding ourselves. We're just going to spend more money. We're going to end up with whatever it happens to be, apartment housing or whatever it is, it's going to end up trashed. There's no other way to see it. It's just look at history. It doesn't work.
Thank you.
So housing is a big part of the homeless issue. It's been proven, evidence-based, that housing does stabilize people in their lives and enables them to oftentimes get back on their feet. And I saw Donnell Ewert here earlier, and Donnell and I worked really hard about 4 or 5 years ago to get a navigation center started in Reading. And we didn't get it off the ground. It was heartbreaking to me. But that would have been an opportunity to have people go through the process. If they needed housing, you could try and connect them to housing at a navigation center. If they needed substance use help, we could do that. The city of Reading has got some micro shelters. They're about ready to launch. So is Good News Rescue Mission. We're getting additional housing. I just noticed driving in, there's a new complex here in Shasta Lake City. I've talked to the city manager about that. I'm real excited for them. And during my time as a supervisor, I met with Northern Valley Catholic Social Services. We had the county. We had Lynn Dora from Hill Country Community Clinic, and we met in Bernie and met with some citizens. And we launched a project with K2, who's done a lot of building in Shasta County. I think they're doing this project down here. Anyway, we have the Bernie Commons now that we're actually providing more available housing. And some of that housing is available for people that are functional, be able to function on their own, but they have some kind of diagnosis. And so we do have, like I say, Northern Valley Catholic Services, Social Services that does the management, and then case management gets involved too. So it's been shown and proven that housing does stabilize people. It gets them so they're more functional and able to be productive citizens. So I'm a great promoter of that, and will continue with that as I move forward as a supervisor.
Okay, you're first on the next question. And the next question is, it's about fire. And what was your response to the needs of the District 3 residents during the recent park fire?
Oh my.
Yes.
I was busy. Of course, I was very apprehensive it was going to reach Shasta County boundary. It did not. Praise God for that. But I spent a lot of very concerned nights laying in a bed worrying about it. I did call I called several people in Whitmore. I talked to the fire chief in Whitmore. I went at least 3 or 4 times to the evacuation center in Bella Vista. They were looking for showers. I made phone calls on that. I just told them, gave them my card. If there's anything I can do to please let me know. I went to the rodeo grounds at least twice and met with Mr. Bambino and the people there. And I noticed that some of our hay was there that we had sold to Shasta Farm and Equipment. I recognized it, Jim. But anyway, so made sure that they were functioning fine. I went to the Emergency Operations Center, and I went there several times, talked to the staff, the Sheriff's Department, all the people that were working from the county, from the Emergency Operations Center, so that I was fully engaged. And you can ask my husband, I think I must have 4 or 5 fire apps on my phone that I would check almost hourly to see what the status was. And I talked to the fire chief too. I'm very familiar with the area where the fire burned, especially the Tuscan Buttes, Inks Creek Ranch, Tuscan Ranch. We've appraised them. And I knew as it was coming our way towards Shasta County that though that's not a lot of trees in that area, so I was hoping that it would kind of burn itself out. Plus the old Ponderosa fire in the mountain area, hopefully that burn scar slowed it down too. So we were lucky it didn't hit us, but I was totally, and I talked to our CEO several times a day too, just checking in.
Thank you. Corky?
So back on the question before, I got it. The question was about homeless housing, and most of what I'm hearing is the housing that we're talking about with K2 and all those. That's low income housing. That's a little different. That's not what the question was. The question was about people that have no income, that are on the streets, and that's completely separate from what we're calling the K2 developments or the project in Bernie. Those are low income, helping people that can't afford housing, that have maybe have a job, maybe have some kind of income that need help. On the fire, I do have a lot of experience with fires. I've been on fires, fighting fires. I've had my company out there on fires. We did the largest fire cleanup, the Dixie Fire, for Caltrans, and that was an experience. 14 months, $36 million was spent just to get the highways open back up safely. I think that we need to do a little research and a little background study on what Sierra Pacific does. They're the largest landowner. They don't have the problems that we have with fires. They have a maintenance program. They have a very successful operation that actually was referred to in a write-up that I just read. Retired, I think he was one of the leaders in the Cal Fires, and he referred to getting with Sierra Pacific and seeing how they operate and how they handle their forests. I mean, we all know that our forests are out of control, that we're not doing good maintenance, that we're not taking care of that. There's some things that can be done.
Thank you. Hold on to that microphone. The next question, what type of mental health or addiction treatment facility do you think would be appropriate for us to use our Prop 1 funding for?
So everybody knows that the state's pulled back on the mental hospitals. I have a lot of experience with mental hospitals. I grew up, I'm going to share a little personal with you. My mother got sick when I was born. She ended up in a mental hospital, and she was in a mental hospital my entire life. I only tell you that because I have a lot of sympathy for the mental, and I have had some experience, in my family as well. I think we probably all have somewhere in our family. We've experienced mental health. I feel like the state's let us down. The funding's let us down. We used to have a mental health hospital right here in Redding. It's not here anymore. Where did all those people go that were getting help? They're out on the streets. We need to back up and get I know this is on a state level, but we need to get funding that'll give us the proper tools that we need to go out. And if you go out on the streets and it's been done, and you go interview the homeless people, it's drugs is probably the number one thing, and we just allow them instead of putting them in programs and helping them. We're not out there helping them. I know there's a lot of stuff going on that's beneficial. I just think it needs a lot more assistance. It needs a lot more programs that we used to have going that we can fire back up and help those people.
Thank you. Mary?
Okay. Oh, I hope I get through this. So when I first got on the board, I brought a speaker. I worked with the district attorney by Sam Kianonis, and I talked about this at the board meeting Tuesday. There's a book called Dreamland, and it talks about the opioid addiction problem in this country, and it's very enlightening. I handed it to Larry Lees, our CEO at the time, and I asked him to read it. And he read it, and it made quite an impression on him. He went down to Chico, and he toured there. There's a group called Aegis. Susan's familiar with it, and came back, and guess what? Shasta County has one as a result of that. So those are the kinds of things that I've done. When I was on the mental health board, we had the psychiatric, the PUF, the hospital facility, which the Board of Supervisors closed, and Susan and I were on that committee to tell them not to close it. They did. So we had no beds for a while. Right now we have approximately 52 beds. Shasta Regional Medical Center has some. RestPad, and I was on that committee to interview the people when we opened up RestPad. And RestPad is also in Red Bluff, and that's where we can send our young people, because we have no beds for young people for mental health problems in Shasta County. I was very involved with getting the medically assisted treatment program in the jail. I worked with, at the time, Sheriff McGreeny, also worked on getting the jail-based competency treatment program in the jail. We have many nonprofits that work collaboratively with the county. Just to name a few is Empire Recovery Center, Right Services. We just had a mental health board meeting and toured them. Victor Services, that's an amazing program where they have housing and people come in and they get their lives back on track. Also, the county has the addicted offender program that you, if you're in the justice system, you can go through that program. We have the Day Reporting Center, which has been hugely successful over the years, getting people back on track. Okay, stop. I knew.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to be able to finish it all.
Thank you. So actually, you get to put the microphone down now because we're going to do our closing statement. So Corky, you get to pick the microphone up, and 2-minute closing statement, please.
I hope I'm not disappointing you with my, I understand Mary has a lot of experience. She also has done 2 terms. We voted the 2-term limit in. It's time for a change. I'm the change that needs to happen. There's a lot to be said about having the right people, and then that can reach across the aisle, that can, so to speak, that can work with people. I'm a people person. I love people. I drive my wife crazy because she doesn't like to go anywhere with me because I want to talk to everybody. And I will do a good job for this county representing the people. I will get in the middle of all these things like Mary's been forced to do over the last 8 years. And I appreciate your experience, Mary, so I'm not dogging anybody here, but I think we need some change. I think we need somebody that's fresh blood that can step up in there and reach across the aisle, that can create teamwork. In my business, we do anything over $1 million. When we do projects, we have a thing called it's a partnering facilitator they put in there. If there's any issues, you learn to facilitate, you learn to work. If there's some problems that come up, you don't walk away from them, you don't fight over them, you figure out a solution. And we need to have people in there that can figure out solutions, that can talk, that can work with people, that can see what the issues are in the county and see what needs there are, and go through those budgets, do forensics audits if we need to, come up with the money for the jails, figure out where it's business. It's the biggest business in Shasta County is our county business. It doesn't get any closer to home than our county and our county supervisors and our need to work together.
Thank you. Mary, your closing statement?
Yes, and one of you mentioned the jail. One thing that there was no question about that, so I want to throw this at. I feel that that's really important that we need to address. The board majority discarded that the other day. I suggested that we have an ad hoc committee of citizens to come together, to bring some ideas forward to see if we can get some kind of relief for that. In 2019, we added, the board that I was on at the time, we added 64 beds to the jail. We have always wanted to expand the jail and make sure it's so that we have a safe place for our neighborhoods, for our people to live. I am really excited about looking forward to working with 2 new board members that I know and have known for years. I've known Alan Long for well over 20 years. And I think they're the right people that'll be coming in, and I'm really excited about that. I think that I have a great vision of where we can focus our energy that's right for everyone. And this is a nonpartisan position. I cannot emphasize that enough. I represent all of you, not just one segment of the political population. And I don't care what your party preference is. I do not care. I don't ask, I've talked to hundreds, thousands of people during my time I've never once asked them what party they belong to. I care about each and every one of you. And I really care about the most vulnerable in our communities. I've invested decades of my life to that, and I want to continue that and use my knowledge and my experience to move this county forward. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, Mary. Let's give them a big hand. So I'm really proud of these 2 for all the work that they've done to get ready for this, and it's been great having you. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of the Reading area, I'd like to thank all of you for your attendance. That includes our forum for tonight. I want to remind you that we have a candidates forum for the Shasta Lake City Council right after this. And then on September 19th, we are going to be at Anderson City Hall Community Center in Anderson for the Anderson City Council. On September 25th, we're going to be at the Riverfront Playhouse, of all places, for the Shasta County Office of Education. And we have rarely done the Shasta County Office of Education, but we feel this year that it's of primary importance to our community to address the education of our students. Now, keep in mind that the Shasta County Office of Education does not run the school districts, but it does have connections with them and provides guidance, some financial advice, and other things. So it's really, that's a really important election, and I want to encourage all of you to join us there for that one. And my last statement really is, please vote. Thank you.